Listen, life ain't fair. Nobody promised you it would be. But let me tell you something. Complaining ain't never made nobody successful. You ever seen a man complain his way to the top? Nah. You ever seen a woman explain her way to success? Nope. Winners don't do that. Winners grind. Winners keep pushing. Winners keep their mouths shut and let their results do the talking. See, too many people out here wasting time telling everybody why things ain't working for them. Oh, my boss don't like me. Oh, I didn't get the opportunity I deserved. Oh, they don't understand me. Look, I get it. Life throws you curveballs. People do you wrong. You get overlooked. But let me tell you what separates the ones who make it from the ones who don't. They don't complain and they don't explain. Winners don't complain, they grind. Life is full of obstacles, setbacks, and unfair situations. That's just the reality of it. But successful people, the real winners, don't waste their energy whining about what went wrong. They take what they have where they are and they go to work. They know that complaining doesn't change the situation. Action does. Complaining is a habit and is one of the most destructive ones you can have. It trains your mind to focus on problems instead of solutions. It makes you comfortable with staying stuck. Winners don't have time to sit around blaming other people, blaming the system, or blaming bad luck. They understand that life isn't fair, but they also know that sitting around talking about it won't move them forward. When you look at the most successful people in the world, they all have one thing in common: an unstoppable work ethic. They don't waste energy crying about things they can't control. They put all their energy into what they can control: their attitude, their effort, and their persistence. When things don't go their way, they don't sit back and moan about it. They adjust, they pivot, and they keep pushing forward. They see setbacks as setups for a comeback. The moment you start complaining, you start making excuses. And the moment you make excuses, you stop finding solutions. That's what separates the ones who make it from the ones who don't. The ones who succeed don't let their circumstances define them. They don't let their past dictate their future. They don't let obstacles slow them down. Instead, they take responsibility for their own lives. They understand that no matter what happens, they have the power to keep moving forward. Every second you spend complaining is a second you could be using to get better, to grow, to improve. The time you waste blaming others, explaining why life is unfair, or talking about what's holding you back is time you could be spending sharpening your skills, learning something new, or working toward your goals. Winners know this. They don't allow themselves to dwell on negativity. They use every challenge as fuel to push themselves harder. Excuses are easy, complaints are easy. Anybody can do that, but not everybody can push through. Not everybody can show up day after day and put in the work, even when they don't feel like it. That's what separates winners from the rest. They show up even when they're tired. They keep going even when it's hard. They don't need ideal conditions to get to work. They work when it's tough, when it's inconvenient, when it's uncomfortable. A winner's mindset is built in the moments when they refuse to complain, when they get up early instead of hitting snooze, when they go the extra mile instead of making excuses, when they stay focused instead of blaming others. It's built in those small choices day after day that compound over time and create success. There's always going to be something to complain about. There's always going to be an obstacle, a reason to quit, an excuse to stop. But winners don't give in to that. They train their minds to keep going. They train themselves to see every challenge as an opportunity. They understand that growth only happens when they push through discomfort. The people who spend their time complaining are usually the ones who stay stuck. They talk about why things aren't working instead of doing what it takes to make them work. They waste their energy focusing on problems instead of solutions. Winners don't have time for that. They know that the only way forward is through effort, consistency, and persistence. They know that if they want something, they have to work for it. No shortcuts, no handouts, no easy way out. Nobody cares about excuses. The world rewards results. It's not about what went wrong, it's about what you did about it. Winners don't wait for perfect conditions. They work with what they've got. They don't expect success to be handed to them. They go out and get it. They understand that complaining is a distraction. It's a way to stay comfortable in a situation instead of changing it. They refuse to fall into that trap. The truth is, everybody has struggles. Everybody faces adversity. But not everybody responds the same way. Some people let challenges break them, while others use challenges to build them. Winners don't waste time feeling sorry for themselves. They get back up, they adjust, and they move forward. They understand that success isn't about what happens to you, it's about how you respond. Every time you complain, you are handing over control of your life to something or someone else. You are saying that your circumstances dictate your success, that external forces are in charge of your future. Winners don't do that. Winners take full responsibility for where they are and where they are going. They don't waste time pointing fingers or blaming situations because they know that complaining doesn't change anything. It just reinforces weakness. People who constantly complain don't realize they are training themselves to be helpless. They are programming their minds to focus on problems instead of solutions. When you complain, you are telling yourself that you are a victim, that life is happening to you instead of you happening to life. The more you reinforce that mindset, the more powerless you become. That's why some people stay stuck for years. It's not because they aren't capable, it's because they've convinced themselves that their problems are bigger than their ability to overcome them. The truth is, life is unfair to everyone at some point. Bad things happen, opportunities get missed, people do you wrong. That's just part of the journey. But dwelling on it, complaining about it, and making it the center of your conversations does nothing to move you forward. It just keeps you in the same place, reliving the same disappointments over and over again. Winners refuse to live like that. They understand that problems are part of life, but they also understand that how they respond to those problems is what determines their success. Complaining doesn't just affect your mindset, it affects your energy. It drains you. It keeps you focused on negativity instead of possibilities. You ever notice that people who complain the most always seem to have the worst luck? That's not a coincidence. They are so caught up in what's wrong that they don't even see opportunities when they appear. Meanwhile, people who take action and refuse to complain are always moving forward. Even when they face setbacks, they keep pushing. That's why they keep winning. Another thing about complaining, it pushes people away. Nobody wants to be around someone who is always talking about what's wrong. It's exhausting. When you complain all the time, you repel opportunities, relationships, and success. People are drawn to problem solvers, to those who have a vision and take action. If you want to build a network of winners, you have to act like one. That means focusing on solutions, not problems. That means refusing to waste time on negativity. The most successful people in the world had every reason to complain, but they didn't. They focused on what they could control, and that's why they changed their circumstances. They didn't sit around explaining why things weren't working out. They didn't dwell on what was unfair. They kept moving, kept adjusting, kept grinding. That's what winners do. When you complain, you reinforce the idea that your life is not in your hands. You give power to circumstances, to other people, to things that are out of your control. But when you stop complaining, you take that power back. You start focusing on what you can do instead of what you can. You shift your mindset from being a victim to being a leader. That's the difference between people who stay stuck and people who rise above their circumstances. You can't win if your energy is wrapped up in negativity. You can't move forward if your mind is always focused on what's wrong. The moment you stop complaining, you free yourself. You give yourself the ability to take action, to make changes, to control your own destiny. Winners know this, and that's why they refuse to complain. They know that every second spent whining is a second wasted. Every moment spent focusing on the problem is a moment that could have been spent creating a solution. That's why they don't do it. That's why they keep winning. Too many people waste time trying to justify their dreams, their actions, and their goals to others. They feel the need to explain why they're doing what they're doing, why they made certain decisions, why they are working so hard. But the truth is, the more you explain, the more you invite doubt, criticism, and unnecessary opinions. People who don't see your vision won't suddenly understand just because you explain it to them. People who doubt you won't start believing just because you break it down for them. The only thing that changes minds is results. Winners don't spend time trying to convince people. They don't argue about their goals. They don't defend their hustle. They simply put in the work, stay focused, and let their success do all the talking. They understand that actions speak louder than words. You don't need to explain why you're staying up late grinding. You don't need to justify why you're saying no to distractions. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you're going after something big. The ones who get it don't need an explanation, and the ones who don't get it wouldn't believe you anyway. The moment you stop explaining yourself, you reclaim your time and energy. You stop looking for validation. You stop worrying about what other people think. Instead of wasting time crafting explanations, you spend that time getting better, growing, and making things happen. People respect results, not reasons. They don't care why you started a business, why you're working on yourself, or why you made certain sacrifices. But when they see the outcome, when they see the success, the growth, the transformation, suddenly they understand. Explanations are for people who are unsure. When you know what you want and you're committed to making it happen, you don't feel the need to justify anything. You move in silence. You execute without seeking approval. You understand that people may not see the vision now, but that doesn't matter, because one day when they see the results, there won't be a need for explanations. Everything will be clear. Trying to explain yourself to the wrong people will only slow you down. Some people don't ask questions because they care. They ask because they doubt. They want to challenge you, make you second guess yourself, pull you into useless debates. They aren't looking to support you. They're looking for reasons to bring you down. That's why the best move is to say nothing. Just work, just improve, just win. When you're at the top, when you've reached your goals, when you've proven what you're capable of, the same people who question you will be the ones asking how you did it. The ones who constantly explain themselves are usually the ones not taking enough action. They spend too much time talking and not enough time doing. They want people to understand, to support, to believe in them before they've even built anything. But belief doesn't come from words, it comes from results. The most successful people, didn't ask for permission. They didn't try to convince everyone. They just did the work. They let their achievements be the explanation. The more you explain, the more people feel entitled to have an opinion on your life. The more you justify your choices, the more you invite unnecessary feedback. People will always have something to say, but their words don't pay your bills. Their opinions don't determine your future. Their approval isn't required for you to win. So instead of explaining, just execute. Instead of debating, just dominate. Instead of seeking understanding, seek results. Let your success be the proof. Let your growth be the explanation. Let your work be the response. Because at the end of the day, nobody can argue with results. No one cares about why something didn't work out. No one is interested in excuses, explanations, or justifications. At the end of the day, all that matters is whether you made it happen or not. The world rewards results, not effort. You can try your hardest, you can struggle, you can put in time, but if there's nothing to show for it, it won't mean much. That's the cold truth. People don't remember attempts, they remember achievements. That's why winners don't focus on why they couldn't do something. They focus on getting it done no matter what. The problem with focusing on reasons is that it creates a mindset of justification instead of execution. When you start thinking about why something didn't happen, you shift your focus from problem solving to excuse making. You start to believe that circumstances control your outcomes when in reality, your actions do. Winners know that results are the only proof of effort that matters. That's why they stay focused on solutions. They don't dwell on what went wrong. They ask themselves what needs to be done to get it right. They don't tell stories about their struggles. They tell stories about their victories. People only pay attention when there is something real to see. When you deliver results, when you succeed, when you accomplish something, that's when people listen. That's when people respect you. It's easy to talk about what you want to do, what you plan to achieve, what obstacles you faced. But talk doesn't move anything forward. Action does. The ones who get ahead in life are the ones who stop explaining, stop justifying, and start producing results. Success is not about fairness. It's not about who has the best background, the most resources, or the easiest path. It's about who refuses to let obstacles stop them. The ones who make it aren't the ones with the least challenges. They are the ones who push through regardless. They don't have time to talk about why something didn't work because they are too busy making things happen. If one way doesn't work, they find another. If they fail, they learn, adjust, and try again. They know that in the end, the only thing people see is the outcome. Nobody remembers the details of a struggle, they remember the victory. Think about the greatest success stories. You hear about the hardships, the failures, the roadblocks, but those are just part of the journey. What people really respect is the success that came after. That's what gets recognized. That's what gets rewarded. No one is out here handing out trophies for trying. Effort matters, but only when it leads to results. The more time you spend focusing on reasons, the less time you have to focus on solutions. It's easy to justify why things didn't work out. It's easy to explain why something wasn't possible, but none of that changes the outcome. The ones who win in life are the ones who don't waste energy on reasons. They channel all their energy into figuring out how to get the job done. They don't stop until they've produced something real, something tangible, something People respect success because success proves effort. It proves commitment, resilience, and dedication. It shows that no matter what was in the way, you found a way through. That's what earns respect. Not the story, not the struggle, but the fact that despite all of it, you still made it happen. If you want people to respect your grind, if you want recognition for your work, if you want to be seen as someone who is serious about their goals, then stop explaining and start executing. Stop looking for understanding and start delivering results. Stop worrying about what's fair and focus on what's possible. There will always be obstacles, there will always be reasons to quit, and there will always be things outside of your control. But none of that matters in the end. The only thing that matters is what you actually accomplish. The world remembers results. The world rewards results. Everybody goes through struggles. There's no escaping it. Life will throw challenges at you. People will doubt you, and things will not always go as planned. But the difference between those who win and those who don't is how they use those struggles. Some people let struggles break them, while others use them to build themselves up. The ones who make it understand that struggle is not a reason to stop. It's a reason to push harder. Instead of complaining about how hard things are, they turn their struggles into motivation. Instead of seeing obstacles as roadblocks, they see them as stepping. Most people don't realize that struggle is necessary. It builds resilience. It forces growth. It teaches lessons that you can't learn any other way. Without struggle, there is no progress. Without hardship, there is no strength. Winners know this, and that's why they don't run from struggles, they embrace them. They understand that every challenge is an opportunity to get better, to grow stronger, and to develop the kind of mindset that can handle anything. The reason struggle is so powerful is because it forces you out of your comfort zone. It pushes you to do things you never thought you could do. It makes you dig deeper, work harder, and stretch beyond what you believed was possible. Every great success story is filled with struggle. Every person who has ever accomplished something significant has faced obstacles that could have made them quit. But instead of quitting, they used those struggles to push them forward. They took every setback, every failure, every moment of doubt, and turned it into fuel. Most people see struggle as a sign to stop. They think if something is hard, it means it's not meant for them. But that's not true. Struggle doesn't mean stop. It means keep going. It means you're on the right path. The bigger the struggle, the bigger the opportunity for growth. When you push through hard times, you become stronger. You develop the discipline, patience, and toughness that success requires. You build a foundation that can't be shaken. The key is to shift your mindset. Instead of looking at struggles as problems, start seeing them as training. Every challenge is preparing you for the next level. Every difficult moment is shaping you into the person you need to become. Without struggle, you wouldn't develop the skills, the mindset, or the endurance needed to win. Winners don't wish for an easy life. They use every struggle as a lesson, every hardship as a teacher, and every setback as a setup for a comeback. Struggles also separate those who are serious from those who aren't. Everybody wants success, but not everyone is willing to go through what it takes to get there. Most people give up when things get tough. They let struggle defeat them instead of using it to build themselves up. But the ones who keep going, the ones who refuse to let struggle break them, those are the ones who win in the end. They don't let temporary pain stop them from achieving permanent success. There will always be struggles. You will always face challenges. But the way you handle them is what determines your future. You can either complain about them or you can use them to grow. You can either let them hold you back or you can let them push you forward. The choice is yours. Winners make the choice to keep moving, to keep learning, and to keep growing no matter what stands in their way. In a world where everyone is talking, posting, and sharing every detail of their lives, keeping quiet is a power move. Too many people feel the need to announce their plans, explain their struggles, or defend their choices. They want validation, approval, or recognition before they've even accomplished anything. But the truth is, the more you talk, the more you open yourself up to criticism, negativity, and distraction. The most successful people move in silence. They don't waste time explaining their every step because they know that real power is in execution, not conversation. When you talk too much about what you're going to do, you give people the opportunity to plant doubt in your mind. Not everyone is rooting for you. Some people are waiting for you to fail. Others might not even mean harm, but their own fears, limitations, and negative thinking can seep into your vision. When you share too much, you invite unnecessary opinions that can shake your confidence and slow you down. That's why the best strategy is to keep things to yourself and let your success make the noise. Silence allows you to focus. Talking about your plans gives a false sense of accomplishment. You start feeling like you're making progress just because you're discussing it, but nothing has actually been done. Winners don't get caught up in hype. They don't waste energy telling people what they're going to do. They put all their energy into taking action. Every minute spent explaining yourself is a minute that could have been used to build, improve, and move forward. Moving in silence also keeps you unpredictable. When people don't know what you're up to, they can't interfere, they can't copy you, and they can't sabotage you. The element of surprise is one of the greatest advantages you can have. If people don't see you coming, they can't prepare for you. By the time they realize what you've been working on, it's already done. That's why the most powerful moves are made quietly. Another reason silence is so effective is that it forces people to take you seriously. When you talk too much, you give people the chance to doubt you, dismiss you, or challenge you. But when you simply do the work and show results, no one can argue with that. There's nothing left to debate. You don't have to prove yourself with words when your achievements speak for themselves. People respect action more than talk. Keeping quiet also protects your energy. When you share your goals with too many people, you open yourself up to their negativity, jealousy, or doubts. Some people will try to discourage you, not because they want to help, but because they don't want to see you succeed. Others will pretend to support you, but secretly hope you fail. The less you say, the less room there is for outside influence. Your goals are yours. Your dreams are yours. You don't need everyone's opinion on them. There's also power in silence when dealing with negativity. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every critic needs to be addressed. Sometimes the best response is no response. When people try to bring you down, when they spread negativity, when they doubt you, the worst thing you can do is give them your energy. Silence sends a stronger message than words ever could. It shows that you are too focused, too disciplined, and too determined to waste time on things that don't matter. The most successful people don't announce their every move. They don't seek approval before they act. They don't waste time justifying their decisions. They work in silence, stay focused, and deliver results. By the time people realize what they've done, it's too late to stop them. That's the power of silence. It keeps you in control, it keeps you focused, and it makes sure that when you speak, it actually means something.